Why YouTube is better than film school. Let's roll. This is bobbydbuze, and today we're going to be talking about why YouTube is better than film school. And I know that is a very bold statement to make, but I have thought this through, and trust me, I've got an answer. So, I don't really have anything against film school per se. I did go to film school for 2 months. I did like a short course. I went to New York Film Academy, and I've done a vlog, somewhere on my channel, which tells you a little bit more about that if you want to have a look. So my opinion is based on the fact that I have somewhat been to film school, and most of the other things that I have learned have either been through YouTube or Google or just internet, really. Okay, so firstly, when I make the statement, I'm not trying to refer to everybody. I'm just talking about for filmmakers. People who are either want to be directors or cinematographers or editors, people like that. I'm not talking about for, actors or people who want to do costume design and things like that. Not meant for you. Also, if you're just one of those people who just graduated and just trying to figure out where to go for college, and you're like, hey, let's try film school. I'm not talking to you either. I'm talking to people who live and breathe filmmaking, those guys. And I really think that the time that you will spend at film school and the money that you'll waste there can be put to better use. Okay, so first let's talk about the good stuff that comes from going to film school. I think the best is that you will be surrounded by other people who are just as passionate about filmmaking as you are. And because of that, you'll always know exactly what's going on. You're always talking about film, always be inspired, which really helps a lot, especially because I moved to London recently, and I don't really know anybody here in my field. So it's hard, that's why I'm doing these YouTube videos, because I need to talk about films somewhere, and I just didn't know where else to do it. So, it really helps in film school in that respect. Another thing that helps is for collaborations. You get to be part of other people's projects, which helps a lot, so you get to learn a lot of different aspects, which if you're a one-man band, you need to be doing everything yourself. But when you're working with other people, you get to focus on one specific thing, like say you're the gaffer for a project, or, you're doing the sound for a project, things like that. It really helps. Just to really get in there and just concentrate on that one aspect of filmmaking. So that's good. You do get to use equipment, which is also a positive, because, somebody will be there in class teaching you how to, fix up a tripod, how to do a C-stand, things like that. And it's not the same as if you just buy the equipment yourself. It's going to be slightly harder for you to figure those things out or know how to use them properly. Now, I feel another way you can learn a lot about equipment this way is if you just start getting odd jobs on sets. If they need a runner or a PA, just sign up and just be around film sets. I think that is the greatest education you could possibly have, because that way, you can move your way up. You get to know a few people. You get a job in the lighting department. You can start off as an assistant to an assistant to an assistant, and you work yourself up. You work your way up. And I think that really helps in a way, because, you get to learn, you get to see other people who are masters of their craft doing their thing, and you get to learn from the best. Whereas in film school, as far as in my experience, you spend a lot of time just sitting there learning from lectures or from learning from teachers, which, don't get me wrong, it's good, but it's not as hands-on as it could be if you were on a set, So I think that's kind of it's a hard line to draw between the two, but I think it helps. So when I say that, I mean that, instead of paying a lot of fees to a school to be there to learn a few things, why don't you get paid instead to be on a film set? It just makes more sense to me. And see, when it comes down to it, nobody in the real world is going to give a shit that you have a degree in filmmaking. Nobody really cares about that. What they care about is your experience, or whether you know how to handle yourself on a set. That stuff matters a lot more, And I personally, I remember, I've been an AD on a feature. This is about 7-8 years ago, and uh, it taught me a lot. You know, this is before I even knew like how to like hold equipment or like how to learn anything about lighting. Nothing. I knew nothing about filmmaking. That was like just my first dip into filmmaking was as an AD. I was a second AD, but you know, I got to, you know, just by watching other people while they were doing their thing, you know, and I was just making schedules and stuff, I got to learn a lot. And it was because of that, you know, then I worked my way into other film sets, doing different things, working in the lighting department and working in sound, you know, wherever I could get into. I was like, yeah, hell yeah, that's what I did. So you're probably wondering that if you have zero experience in filmmaking, but you're interested in the field, how do you really get started? And well, there's a couple of ways if you're not going to go the film school route to do. I would recommend maybe sign up for some local workshops. Just look up, you know, camera stores in your area. They're usually having some kind of workshops for photography or cinematography. Sometimes they have some directors in, or some local schools which have some short courses or something like that. I think because if you, those will give you the basic knowledge that you need to get started, and then I'll get to like what the best way to learn is, which is of course the topic of this video. I will recommend two paid courses, which I personally did. I did a few, but these two are the only ones that I would recommend. One will be the Hollywood Camera Works. All the courses that these guys make, Pierre Holmes is the guy. I think there's phenomenal courses for directors and cinematographers as well. Like just the way those courses are made. Like if you want to learn about camera moves and this and that, they have a directing actress one, which if you don't really know anything about that field is great. I personally did disagree with a lot of techniques that were used. I thought they overcomplicated things, but the the cinematography ones and the camera moves ones, I thought those were phenomenal. And the other thing I recommend is this guy called Dov Simmons, who does like a 2-day crash course in filmmaking. Now, he handles more of like the business side of films. It's more of like just watching that guy talk will motivate you to get off your ass and actually start doing something. And it's a bit dated, his course, but like it's still, I mean, it's worth it. It's really worth it just to, you know, learn how the business of film works. So I would definitely recommend that as well. Right, so now that you have your basic courses, you've seen your workshops and all of that, what's next? Well, the best thing I would recommend is just freaking Google filmmaking, how to become a director, how to become a filmmaker, things like that. I'm sure you get like over millions of search results. Start going through them. I remember when I first started, that's exactly what I did. I just Googled how to be a filmmaker, and I went through so many of these articles where they were talking about basic things, you know, basic filmography, filmmaking 101. That's right. So, you know, basic things for anything from like, okay, about different lenses. It's wide angle lenses, telephoto lenses. What's the difference between the different focal lengths? The exposure triangle, what does aperture do? What does ISO do? All these kind of things. And, you know, you'll find so many free articles online which just teach you all the basics you need to know. And then there's more complex things you'll find as well. But sooner or later, I think maximum in about a week, 2 weeks tops, all the information that you will learn is pretty much what you will learn in the first year of film school. I'm not even joking. It's exactly the way it is, you know. I mean, I have friends who will go to film school and stuff, and they tell me, well, this is exactly what we learned. Sure, they will tell it to you in more detail, but do you really need to know all the detail? Hell, you can learn the whole history of filmmaking online as well. Everything from the Kuleshov effect to, they'll talk about D.W. Griffith and all. Like, I know about these things without going to film school because, you know, I just Googled it. So, I mean, it's like, you know, from Good Will Hunting when Matt Damon's character is in that bar and he's like, oh, you're going to drop all this money on a Harvard education and you can just get it at the public library. It's pretty much the same thing. And the other thing that comes to mind is the amount of money that you will save by not going to film school. Use that. Buy yourself a camera, buy yourself a couple of lights, buy yourself a recorder and a mic, and boom, you got yourself your own little production house. And then, you know, just get a couple of friends together and just start shooting things. And that, I mean, I think that's the best way to learn because no matter what, you're not going to learn as much by just watching or learning as much as you will by just actually getting something and just practicing and practicing and practicing. Like that, it's true. Practice makes perfect. That's just the way it is. So now you've learned the basics of filmmaking. You've done all of that. What's next? You either get a camera. Hell, if you can't afford a camera, just get like a Filmic Pro app for your phone. I mean, that thing is phenomenal. I do recommend that. Or something, and just start shooting and just try to learn like all the things you learn. Like, okay, oh, what does ISO do? What about shutter speed? Just change different settings on the app or on your camera, and see what happens if you don't follow the rules, and what happens when you do follow the rules. So just learn through experience. Finally, let's talk about the topic of this video itself: why I feel YouTube is better than film school. All the things that I told you, the basics of filmmaking that can be learned from articles and stuff from Google, and that you can learn through workshops and short courses, pretty much all of that is already on YouTube as well. I mean, I can just sit here and for hours just name different YouTubers who teach filmmaking. People who do color grading, people who teach filmmaking techniques, visual effects. It's just there's limitless knowledge out there. And even till this day, although I feel that I know pretty much most of the stuff that most of these people are teaching, I still watch the videos because sometimes there's something new. I'm like, oh, wow, I never knew that. And that still happens. You will never know everything there is to know about any subject. That's just the way it is. You will always be able to learn something new or try something new. And so long as you keep up to date with all these things, hell, keep up to date with the people who are doing the reviews of new gear. This way you will always know what cameras are out, what lenses are out, what to buy, what not to buy, learn from other people's experiences. And, it's just, it works so well. And just in general, I feel that YouTube as a community is so helpful that, even if, say, for example, I'd upload a video, like when I started, like, I mean, I'll still do that. Like if I make a short film, I'll upload it to YouTube, and, I'll tell my friends to watch, some of their friends will watch, things like that. And then people will comment on it and let me know, hey, I think you should have done this like that, or this thing you did was so good. So, you get to learn what works and what doesn't. So, because, I think the thing is, back in the day, there was like 6 major studios. And, well, I mean, 6 majors and the mini majors and this and that, but there was only a finite amount of resources that could be allotted to making movies. But nowadays, because content is everywhere, it's limitless. So I think people are not competing as much, especially like when you come to like a platform like YouTube. Everyone wants to help one another out. I mean, other than a few trolls and this and that, but I think just in general, people want to help people. And if you are genuine with your effort, if you're really trying, I think it's the greatest thing you can do. And one day, hopefully, you can be the one sitting there telling other people and helping other people out in their endeavors when they're starting out. So I think it just comes full circle with YouTube. And I think so long as, you are regular with watching what else is going on, like, what the latest camera is coming out, you've done the basics, all the techniques and this and that. I think overall, the 3 or 4 years, whatever you're going to waste in film school, just use that money to buy your own equipment, start small, keep expanding, keep learning from others on YouTube or workshops or seminars or whatever. I think it's just a way better idea. Well, I mean, at least that's what I think. Yeah, so, well, that's my opinion anyways. If you guys disagree, please let me know. If you found this helpful, please do drop a like and subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And I'm very happy. I think I got through the whole video without swearing even once, which I'm really proud of because it's hard for me not to. But, yeah, thank you guys for watching. And, okay then.